What if everything you've been taught about spirituality and success is actually backward? Imagine discovering that the universe isn't testing your spiritual commitment through struggle, but is simply waiting for you to align with abundance. I've seen countless people transform when they embrace this mindset shift. The results can be almost immediate. Today I'm challenging the common belief that spiritual growth and success are separate paths. This mistaken belief creates internal conflict that might be blocking you right now. Stay with me as we unpack how releasing this limiting perspective could unlock both spiritual and material abundance in your life in ways you never thought possible. Have you ever felt that weird tension between wanting to succeed and staying true to your spiritual path? Like, if you push too hard for that promotion or financial goal, you're somehow betraying your spiritual values. I see this struggle all the time, and trust me, you're definitely not alone. Here's something I've noticed that's really concerning. So many spiritual teachers are unconsciously spreading a dangerous idea that you need to choose between material success and spiritual growth. They present spirituality and success as mutually exclusive paths. And the crazy thing is, most of them don't even realize they're doing it. This creates such a painful internal battle in everyday life. Maybe you hesitate to negotiate your salary because it feels greedy, or you downplay your achievements to appear more humble. On one hand, you have this natural desire for abundance, security, and success. But then there's this voice in your head suggesting those desires are somehow unspiritual or selfish. This age-old conflict between material wealth and spiritual growth has incredibly deep roots. It stretches back thousands of years to ancient religious traditions that actually glorified poverty and suffering as paths to enlightenment. Think about it. So many spiritual figures throughout history were celebrated specifically because they rejected material comforts. This programming runs deep in our collective consciousness and still influences us today. And this misunderstanding is literally everywhere in modern spiritual culture. You see it in those popular spiritual books that suggest detachment from material desires is the highest path. You hear it in meditation retreats, where success in the real world is treated as a distraction from your true purpose. And it shows up in how we talk about materialism like it's a spiritual disease rather than simply one aspect of human experience. Here's the big question I want you to consider. What if your spiritual practice is actually blocking your success instead of supporting it? When you believe success and spirituality are separate paths, you're creating an artificial barrier in your mind. You're essentially telling the universe, I can have one or the other but not both. And the universe tends to reflect back what we deeply believe. The truth, and this might be hard to accept at first, is that this separation is completely made up. It's not based in spiritual reality at all. The universe doesn't categorize experiences as spiritual or material. That's just something humans do to make sense of life. But in doing so, we've created a false division that causes unnecessary suffering. Your inner conflict isn't helping your spiritual growth. It's actually preventing you from experiencing the fullness of what's possible for you. It's like driving with one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. You're using up all your energy fighting yourself rather than moving forward on your path. Think about it this way. What if material success is actually part of your spiritual journey, not separate from it? What if the universe wants you to experience abundance in all areas of your life, and your resistance to success is actually resistance to your complete spiritual expression? Your resistance might be coming from a massive spiritual misunderstanding that's been passed down for generations. Have you noticed how many spiritual teachings glorify struggle while treating success with suspicion? Here's the truth that changed everything for me. The universe isn't random or indifferent to your success. It's actually set up to work on your behalf. As one of the most influential spiritual thinkers of our time, Marianne Williamson offers this powerful insight. The universe is set up to work on your behalf. Think about that for a second. The universe isn't some cold, mechanical system testing your spiritual commitment through hardship. It's a living, breathing reflection of love for all living things. So many of us have absorbed this idea that spiritual growth requires giving something up. Your comfort, your desires, your success. But what if that's completely backward? Williamson argues that the ways of spirit are not the ways of sacrifice, but rather a way of opening yourself fully to the infinite glories of the universe. Those infinite glories include abundance in all its forms. And yes, that means material success too. Have you ever noticed how things sometimes fall into place when you're in alignment? That's what Williamson calls the law of divine compensation. Essentially, The universe is programmed to lift you out of limitation and return you to abundance. This operates like an ecosystem that naturally seeks balance and harmony. Just as gravity works whether you believe in it or not, these spiritual laws function independently of your personal beliefs. Williamson explains, just as there are objective, discernible laws of external phenomena, so there are objective, discernible laws of internal phenomena. The universe operates according to consistent principles that favor your success. But here's where most of us get tripped up. If you've been taught that the spiritual path requires struggle, you might unknowingly be resisting the very abundance the universe is trying to bring you. Does this sound familiar? You might even feel guilty when good things come your way, as if success somehow makes you less spiritual. What really matters is the lens through which you view the world. Williamson puts it perfectly. If you think of yourself as being at the effect of a random universe that does not care about you, then you will experience your life that way. If you think of yourself as being at the effect of a loving universe that does care about you, then you will experience your life that way. This is why aligning with abundance is actually more spiritual than embracing struggle. Abundance isn't something foreign to spiritual reality. It's the natural state of the universe. Limitation is the illusion created by fear-based thinking. When you align with love, rather than fear, something amazing happens. You activate the universe's natural tendency to improve conditions, including your material circumstances. It's like swimming with the current instead of fighting against it. When you're aligned with your soul's purpose, success often follows naturally. As Gregory points out, if you truly believe you are good at something, then by offering that to the world, you are truly offering a gift of your services, a gift of your talents. This service-oriented mindset creates a path toward both spiritual and financial abundance. Just when you think you're doing everything right on your spiritual journey, there's an invisible saboteur working behind the scenes. What would you say if I told you that sometimes the more spiritual you consider yourself, the harder it becomes to achieve success? It's a paradox that's derailing spiritual seekers everywhere. And it all comes down to one sneaky culprit: your ego's attachment to spiritual identity. Here's what's really happening. Your ego, that part of you that needs to feel special and separate, craves labels and identities, and spiritual person happens to be the perfect disguise. It seems pure, noble, and beyond criticism. I mean, who's going to question someone on a spiritual path? Picture your ego as a jealous guardian of this spiritual identity, constantly patrolling the borders of what it thinks being spiritual means. This guardian will actually sabotage your success to keep its prized spiritual image intact. It creates a false choice between being spiritual or successful, like trying to straddle a widening crack. Eventually something's gonna give. The self-sabotage happens in ways you might not even notice. Procrastinating on business opportunities that could transform your life. Feeling strange discomfort when success is within reach. Judging successful people as less evolved or materialistic. Downplaying your talents or apologizing for charging money. Justifying financial struggles as some kind of spiritual virtue. This pattern shows up everywhere in spiritual communities. Have you caught yourself thinking that truly spiritual people shouldn't care about money, or feeling uncomfortable when abundance comes your way? Wait, does any of this sound familiar? If you've been struggling despite your best spiritual efforts, this might be your wake-up call. Wayne Dyer had profound insight into this trap when he said, "Abundance is not something we acquire, it is something we tune into." He understood that true success isn't about grabbing, it's about alignment with the natural flow of abundance already surrounding us. The good news? Recognizing this pattern is your first step to breaking free. This isn't about abandoning your spiritual path. It's about liberating your spirituality from your ego's tight grip. Because true spirituality has nothing to do with your bank account. It's about your connection to Source and how you express love in the world. When your spiritual practice becomes entangled with spiritual bypassing, using spiritual beliefs to avoid uncomfortable emotions or desires, you avoid the very success that might fulfill your purpose. Many spiritual seekers find themselves stuck in patterns of procrastination precisely when opportunities arise that could lead to meaningful success. What if that pattern of spiritual avoidance isn't just limiting your potential? What if it's actually blocking your highest spiritual calling? Many of us have never considered that our success might be more than just permitted on our spiritual journey. But here's something that might completely transform how you think about this. Your success could actually be essential. to your spiritual purpose. I know this sounds radical, especially if you've spent years immersed in spiritual teachings that position success as a distraction. But consider this possibility. The gifts you've been given weren't meant to be hidden away in humble obscurity. They were meant to shine, to expand, and yes, to succeed in the world. True success goes deeper than accumulating stuff or chasing status. Real success is about embodying your higher self and expressing your unique gifts in ways that create ripples of positive change. When you hold back from success, you're limiting your spiritual expression. Wayne Dyer captured this perfectly when he said, "Don't die with your music still in you." I remember encountering this wisdom during a period when I questioned whether pursuing success was spiritually appropriate. It resonated deeply. What if the greatest spiritual failure isn't wanting too much success, but rather failing to fully express the gifts you were divinely given? That's a complete reversal of how most spiritual seekers think. Your talents, passions, and unique perspectives aren't random. They're the very tools you were given to fulfill your purpose here. When you finally let your gifts shine, not only do you fulfill your personal calling, but you also become a beacon of positive change for those around you. This purpose often requires a platform that only comes through some form of worldly success. Look at the most influential spiritual teachers throughout history. They achieved tremendous worldly success. They wrote best-selling books, spoke to massive audiences, and many created significant financial abundance. Their success wasn't separate from their spiritual mission. It was the very channel through which their spiritual message could flow to millions. When you start seeing success this way, everything shifts. Success becomes a spiritual responsibility. It's about answering the call to bring your highest self into full expression in the physical world. Marianne Williamson beautifully expresses this connection when she says, "From a mind filled with infinite love comes the power to create infinite possibilities." This reveals the profound link between love, the essence of spirituality, and creation, the manifestation of success. When you align with love, you naturally expand into greater possibilities for expression and impact. Spirituality and material success aren't opposing forces at all. They're two sides of the same coin of self-expression. Your spiritual growth fuels authentic success, while your success creates new opportunities for spiritual growth and service. Think about how much more impact you can have when your gifts reach their fullest expression, how many more people you can help, how much more positive change you can create. This isn't about ego, it's about impact. So what's the takeaway from everything we've discussed today? It's pretty simple, really. Your desire for success isn't something you need to feel guilty about or hide away. In fact, embracing that ambition might be exactly what your spiritual journey needs. Here's the beautiful truth. When you pursue your passions and align them with your spiritual values, you're embracing the fullness of who you were meant to be. The universe doesn't want you to choose between success and spirituality. It wants you to integrate both. I challenge you today. Identify one way you can align your material goals with your spiritual values. Share in the comments how you're bringing these worlds together in your life. Stay blessed, my friends.